We are now 10 hours into jury deliberations for a former Clear Creek County deputy who shot and killed a young man. The jury still hasn't decided if Andrew Buen should be held criminally responsible.
Now, there were several police body cameras recording that night when Buen did shoot and kill Christian Glass. It was June of 2022. The question for the jury, though, is whether his actions that night were excessive and unreasonable. 9 News reporter Steve Stager has been covering this case from the very beginning and is live with us from Clear Creek County with the latest. Steve?
Yeah, Tom, we actually just got word from the court that the jury will require another day of deliberations. They are going to go until 4:45 today and they'll be back tomorrow. This jury has been incredibly thorough throughout this trial, taking very copious notes all throughout the testimony. They even asked a lot of questions of the witnesses on the stand, and they will now help write the final chapter in a nearly 2-year-long story that has dramatically changed a family's life and this county. The day after Andrew Buen shot and killed Christian Glass in June of 2022, his former employer put out a one-page press release. They said the man who had been shot was argumentative, armed himself with a knife, and officers had tried to bring the situation to a peaceful resolution. 3 months later, we learned what really happened.
He had done nothing wrong. He was just too scared to get out of his car.
9 News was the first station to show you the body camera video that showed Glass had called 911 for help.
My vehicle got stuck.
And Buen badgered him.
I will break the window. Step out of the car.
To get out of his car for the better part of an hour, refusing to let Christian throw the knives he had in the car out the window.
No, do not throw them out. Do not touch them. Do not reach for them.
Then Buen broke the window. When a frightened Glass picked up a knife, Buen shot him with beanbag rounds, tased him. Then when Glass made a motion toward a fellow officer, Buen fired 5 shots, killing Glass, the only officer on scene who fired.
He trusted the police to come and help him. Instead, they attacked and killed him.
A couple of months later,
it's People versus Andrew Buen and Kyle Gould.
A Clear Creek County grand jury indicted Andrew Buen with second-degree murder and his supervisor, Kyle Gould, with criminally negligent homicide. In May of last year, Christian's parents, Simon and Sally Glass, won the largest police misconduct settlement in state history, $19 million.
We want to begin to start celebrating his life.
It includes some non-economic terms, like establishing a mental health response team in Clear Creek County. It also required an apology from the agencies involved. The Clear Creek County Sheriff at the time wrote that his officers, quote, failed to meet expectations on the call.
The board does not believe that the sheriff has adequately accepted responsibility.
The lackluster apology led his fellow elected leaders to call him out and for Sheriff Rick Albers to suddenly retire. Clear Creek County hired a reformer to fill the rest of his term. In November, Buen's supervisor, Gould, pleaded guilty to a lesser charge, failure to intervene. And the day after he agreed to give up his police certification, the DA in Clear Creek County charged the 6 other officers on scene that night with the same charge. Their cases are still pending, like the fate of the deputy who pulled the trigger as a jury continues to deliberate. What's very interesting is that throughout this 10 hours now of deliberations, the jury has not come out of the jury room to ask a question, which is a typical thing that we see in jury deliberations in cases like this. Though the judge did meet with the prosecution and the defense behind closed doors twice today. Buen was in the room for both of those meetings. Unclear what they were talking about at the time. We do know the jury will return to the courtroom here at 4:45, where the judge will remind them they're not to talk about this case to anyone when they go home until they come back here tomorrow morning and begin their jury deliberations all over again. For now, we're live outside the Clear Creek County Courthouse. Steve Stager, 9 News.
Well, Steve, there's so much in the balance here, of course, for Andrew Buen, but also for the Glass family and so many other people who followed this case closely to have these deliberations continue for another day with everyone thinking what may come from that jury room.
And Tom, you can see the supporters of the Glass family all around town. If you move around the small town of Georgetown, there are people who are wearing pink. That was Christian's favorite color. There are a lot of people here. In fact, during closing arguments, the courtroom, the small courtroom here in Clear Creek County was full. Very few seats left over. So you imagine a lot of interest in this case. And anywhere you go in town, people know what happened in Silver Plume 2 years ago. They know about this shooting. They want to know what's going to happen to the deputy who was involved in it.
All right, Steve, thanks for the update from Georgetown.